Guess what? I'm back. So, I finished. I had to eat. I was hungry. Okay, so here we go. Let's begin with Sakhalin. And also, Oceania. Oh yeah, so the current governing party in Australia, the Labour, the Australian Labour Party, which, let me see. So yeah, the New Zealand Labour Party and the Australian Labour Party merge into one big party, and also the Nationals joined the Liberal National Coalition in Australia. So now, so the the Oceanian Labour Party is still the governing party. It's so yeah, now Japan is pushing into Sakhalin, getting back to World War III. So the governing labor. Oh yeah, I do want to mention this one thing. Yeah, so Australia is also in the war. So they're because they were in world. I believe. Well, the Commonwealth. The British Commonwealth isn't a defensive pact, but it's still. So Bougainville is. Bougainville and like Papua New Guinea and. Oh yeah, Indonesia remains neutral in this conflict too. So. There's also mountains in Kashmir also. So India actually doesn't want to take any of this territory, they just want Kashmir. So let's get, in Iran, Turkey is pushing quite a bit. So, like, Iran is about to fall. Probably. Because. So that's a really a really populated region. So now, all of Azerbaijan has been liberated. And now, all of Georgia. So yeah, Iran is looking like it's about to surrender. So it does. So the Persian monarchy is actually the Persian monarchy is restored into power in Iran. So and Iran loses even territory. So, and also they have to lease their oil, and also oil fields. Yeah, they have to lease their oil fields. They have to lease their oil fields to NATO for like 90 years. Because like, that sounds like a thing NATO would do. Anyways, yeah, that's... So yeah, now Iran is smaller, and Azerbaijan is bigger? I don't know. I don't know, really. I don't know. Oh. Oh, yeah. So my mic was muted. So, yeah, these are the last few months Russia has before they, like, collapse completely. Or no, the Eurasian Union state has before they collapse. So they should probably make peace now so they can get a favorable deal. So yeah, the Finns have been pushing them back, like, a lot. And now Latvia's most of Latvia has been liberated. Hold on, let me check something. So yeah, the Finnish are approaching Archangels. So it's for the Russians it's Jover. A landing is made in Estonia, Tallinn is liberated. And bam. All of Latvia is liberated, all of Estonia is liberated, and there you go. That's it, it's over. it's all over. So, the Ukrainians begin offensive. The Ukrainians, combined with some Baltic and Finnish, combined with troops from the Baltics and Finland, begin an offensive to take places like Novgorod, and wipe out Russia's heartland. Ukraine also keeps doing their offensive in Kuban, and they're inflicting costly defeats against the Russians. Finland captures Archangelsk, which de facto Russia has lost. They cannot win at this point. With all the troops piling down on them, it is only a matter of time before Russia surrenders. Somehow, something will make them. Anyways, let's get back to the Americans on the Kamchatka. So the Americans have already captured. So the Americans have gotten. They've done quite well on the Kamchatka. They've taken. Well, yeah, they've taken some major areas. There's not very many people live on the Kamchatka. So they're just invading Siberia, really. It's just an extension of Siberia. Japanese troops push up. And by Japanese, I mean more Japanese and American troops. A combined Korean-American force continues pushing up that peninsula. Not peninsula. It's not really a peninsula. They're kind of trying to hold the line against the Chinese, so they can get Russia to so they can get the Eurasian Union State to surrender. And then they can turn on the Chinese and then win the war. In Southeast Asia, China is wreaking havoc in the Philippines. They've taken a lot of territory and subjugated the Filipinos to essentially the same things America did when the Americans colonized the Philippines. Yeah, I'm American. Hainan has fallen because China was bogged down in the Philippines. Hainan finally fell. And also Naypyidaw has fallen, that's essentially the final nail in the coffin for Chinese control in Burma, or Myanmar. India keeps pushing. India keeps pushing and starts a spearhead and head into China. And even Taiwan has made a landing. Though the Chinese are gonna try to repel it as much as they can. But yeah, the Chinese are probably gonna repel that offensive though. Okay. Anyways, the slaughter continues. Back in Europe, Finland has been pushing the Russians back even farther, to the point that they're now at the outskirts of St. Petersburg. Then a desperate last-ditch attempt to save St. Petersburg begins. With the city being placed under a deadly siege, where hundreds of thousands, if not millions, would die. Right, under a nationalistic Russia has essential. All elements of Russian democracy have essentially been purged by this point. Russia's been left a far-right nationalist state, also under a military dictatorship. So Azerbaijan pushes farther and farther into Caucasia. And also, right here that's Volgograd, which is a major city. So yeah, the Ukrainians are going to spearhead an offensive. So another offensive into Kuban was a massive defeat for the Russians. Bam! That's bad. The Russians are clearly being pushed back on every front. Bam. 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 There you go. Russia's being pushed back even farther. In a last-ditch effort, Russia tries to stir up chaos in Africa by funding Sudan to go to war with the East African Federation. This essentially was just so. Oh yeah, Sudan is in a civil war, but it ended. The government won. Oh yeah, the government won the civil war in Sudan. I should have mentioned that. So they begin an invasion into South Sudan. And then the East African Federation rebounds, and the East African Federation pushes them back, beginning their own counteroffensive. The East African Federation doesn't officially join the Allies. They're just at war with Sudan. Russia mainly did this just to screw over countries. Mainly they did this as a show of strength. They didn't really do it to screw over the Allies, but and also in the hopes that Sudan would become an ally. The East African Federation spearheads down the Nile. I don't know where the capital is. Okay, so it's like, so then I have a world map, so that's why I'm turning, if anybody's wondering. They start an offensive towards their capital. And also another offensive. It's over here. Well, actually, that's more of a Y. I mean, so the East African Federation would actually no. This East African Federation wouldn't be the most populated wouldn't be more populated than the U.S. So, anyways, bam. Well, or actually, Sudan isn't going to surrender just yet. So Saudi Arabia, so America does help them out, just to screw over the Russians. America does kind of help them out by navally blockading Sudan. I think a lot of people live in that region, especially because it's the Nile, so a lot of people are going to live there. As they spearhead towards the sea in a Sherman moment. And another offensive begins towards their capital, Khartoum, and then Khartoum falls, so the Sudanese government just kind of collapses. Which then means... And then all of this... Then this area falls, and then... I think Sudan might be kind of mountainy, I don't know. Then that area falls, and then Sudan just capitulates. So as part of the peace treaty, Sudan's just annexed into the East African Federation. There's kind of no other point in there's kind of nothing else to do. Okay, there you go. Now it's an even bigger East African Federation. And it kind of has a mutated head. To the point that... yeah. Anyways, now it is time for a civil war in South Africa. Yeah, and also Russia funds rebels in South Africa. which South Africa is right. So right now, South Africa is siding with the Allies, mainly just to screw over the Russians. But now, they're in a sticky situation. Like a really sticky. Well, yeah, because so by now the Democratic Alliance is the largest party in South Africa. Anyways, a civil war begins. The South African Civil War begins with rebels in the Cape, with Cape rebels declaring independence, possibly funded by Russia. I mean, that's really the only way to say it. Like, well, yeah. Really. Anyway, really, so America sends funding to South Africa. This is in the hope that they'll establish a pro-Russian dictatorship, even though they're not going to. Or no, they just wanted to screw over the South Africans, and also to show strength. So eventually, the Cape rebels. Well, I'm pretty sure the Cape is pro-Western. I mean, well, most Cape rebels are pro-U.S., but these ones are pro-Russia, I guess. I don't know. And also, this is like 2032. Oh, and you know what that means? That means it's time for an America election. Anyways, like, Rand Paul loses his job. Like, World War III. Whilst World War III is ongoing, America doesn't really feel safe. Hey, so they elect Democrat Gretchen Whitmer to the presidency. Okay, maybe not Whitmer. I don't know who they'd elect. Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, Pritzker. Like, Pritzker. Oh, Ossoff, possibly. Yeah, let's say, like, John Ossoff. So, yeah, Japanese troops advance in the Kamchatka. American troops capture this island. And then they invade places. Anyways, invasion time. Yeah, they're cut off. That's not. So yeah, they're cut off from the rest of Russia. So then the area collapses. And also, the American troops here start to push quite far. So anyways, there you go. America kind of just digs in right there, because this attack was partially just a diversion for the main attack. The Russians knew this attack was coming, just that the Russians kind of knew. A lot of people in the Russian government, a lot of high-ranking officials in Russia, also warned the military that this was going to happen, but they warned Putin this would happen, but like Stalin in World War II, he kind of dug his head in the sand. He thought, what would they do? Navally invade Russia through the Arctic? Ah, no. And then in came the naval invasion. Russia is now being navally invaded through the Arctic. Just that just that who's doing it? Well, we're just going to give them the color of America, but it's kind of diverse. So the attack on the Kamchatka was actually a diversionary attack. Well, this attack was actually what mattered. And also, the American technology American technology is also way better now than like it ever was in any time in all of our history, which makes sense. So the Americans land in this island. I forget what it's called. Okay, so there you go. That island is fallen. And then bam, that island is fallen. And then that island. So now, a naval invasion from the North Pole. Oh. Does Russia celebrate Christmas? Because if they do, then they got an early Christmas present. And that early Christmas present was being invaded by hundreds of thousands of troops. Which doesn't really bode well with winning a war. Like, if you're being invaded on an unguarded coastline and you're trying to win a war, those two don't mix. So yeah, that's kind of the final nail in the coffin, as Russia's supply line, but Russia's resources have been stretched thin. They've been trying to hold down St. Petersburg for months, if not years. At this point, they've been pushed back to just this. Then St. Petersburg fell, one of Russia's largest cities. There's mutinies in the Russian army, yet the government doesn't sue for peace. Oh yeah, I think that's Volgograd. Let me check. Yeah, that's Volgograd right there. Or at least a lot of it. I don't know. A lot of it, no. That's yeah. That's I mean that's alright. That's the Volga. I mean that. Yeah, it's the Volga. Possibly a bit, or at least near Volgograd. Anyways, there you go. That's the last. That's essentially the final nail in the coffin. I mean, they still hold Moscow, but seriously, what would they do? Like, try to invade Moscow? Also winter. But it's not World War II. The winter doesn't really help them anymore. Well, it does help them. America tries their luck with another invasion, and actually works. Now there's an even bigger front line it's not good for the Russians. I mean, Eurasian Union State. I found it hard to say Eurasian Union State. It sounds stupid. Eventually, like, they control this, but it's fallen into anarchy. So yeah. America is still as arrogant. Yeah, America's as arrogant as ever. So they try their luck with another naval invasion to prove that they're the strongest country in the world, which they kind of already have times like 100. But yeah, American exceptionalism took hold, I guess. There you go. Those are more islands. More islands. Anyways, let's get back to this front. In Asia. Oh, that's not good. Anyways, China is still being pushed back. Somehow. So anyways, Russia tries to restore the Bolivarian regime in Venezuela, but they're unsuccessful, considering So Venezuela holds the first election, the first, like, real elections in a while. So the Liberal Party of Venezuela wins, and then they join the Allies, which is a double whammy. So anyways, another offensive into China. So they're like, I said they're trying to hold off the front line in China, but that's kind of a lie. They want to take Manchuria, and that's kind of it. Anyways, Southeast Asia. So yeah, Myanmar is collapsing. The Chinese are beginning to be pushed out of the Philippines. Basically, the Filipino army is fighting guerrilla style and ambushing them. So the invasion is really slowing down. I mean, not slowing down. An outrage just fails. The Filipinos have beaten off the Chinese. Anyways, this landing just doesn't really do much. The Chinese... Anyways. Back to another front. Actually, let me fix this. There's gonna be a brutal battle here. But anyways. Now, new front. I mean, not new front. Well, actually, yeah, new front. Morocco. Third Sand War, let's go. Anyways, let's go. Third Sand War. So, Algeria takes the initiative, but... So, Algeria begins by taking the initiative. And also inviting Western Sahara to join the war, which they gladly accept because they want to assert their independence, and also maybe kick Morocco's butt a little bit. I mean, maybe not a little bit, like a lot of it. Yeah, that's a bit better. So Morocco joins the Allies, and then. So they push back Western Sahara into their own territory, and then Western Sahara just collapses. So bam, they're annexed. So bam. There you go. Morocco has kind of won. They haven't totally won yet. Because France in French fashion invades Algeria, so they invade Algeria and also navally blockade them. So, yeah. Morocco begins pushing back, mainly because Algeria literally cannot get any supplies due to the naval blockade. Anyways, also, Libya. They join the war. there you go. That's... See, Libya and Tunisia joined the war. So Tunisia begins their invasion of Libya. And also Algeria. Mainly because France was helping them. So anyways, that's France. So yeah, Morocco is pushing into Algeria. They have a bit of mountain, and then it's just desert. So by then, Algeria has just collapsed. So now they have to focus on Libya. So Tunisia has been pushing back Libya for a while. So then after the fall of Tripoli, like, yeah, Libya just collapsed. Libya just outright collapses. So let's see what's gonna happen to Libya. Okay, so I'm gonna try to, like, draw a map. Alright, I'm gonna try to draw the borders. So Libya is just divided between 3 nations. So now it's done. So now, well, with that done, the third sand. So now with the third sand war done with, and also like Libya divided. These are the loyalist government. This is the government. This is the Tripoli government. And that's the Western Libya government, and this is the Eastern Libya government. So yeah, there you go. That's it. So, well, also Algeria has to get. Well, Algeria also has to. We do need a peace treaty with Algeria. Yeah, Tunisia actually doesn't get anything from Libya. Mainly because Libya kind of collapsed before the peace treaty could even be drawn up. So they were like, sure, why not just not impose peace treaty terms on them? So Tunisia just gets this territory, like, which isn't much, but it's you get what you get, and also And also, like, Tunisia's relatively small, so, I mean, they do get more land area, at least. Oh. Well, that actually kind of looks like a border. That's one of my few borders that actually look like a border. So yeah, that's... I mean, yeah, Morocco really... So Algeria was... yeah, Algeria actually got off quite lightly. Except for the fact that France just annexed them. Don't worry, it's only temporary though. Let's hope France doesn't get colonial ideas. Also, Serbia finally joins the war. And it's not because I just forgot. And, well, Serbia had actually... Well, so you might think, oh, well, they're just gonna get pounded, right? Wrong. Serbia had been militarizing. So they're getting ready to... So they're ready to kick butt. Again. And also, Viktor Orban loses the election in Hungary. Finally. Finally, he's out of office. Anyways. Oh yeah, well, Serbia wouldn't do that much, but they do a fair bit. And also, they push into Serbska, Kosovo. They kind of already claimed Kosovo. Also, a new invasion. An invasion here. Oh yeah. And also, I kind of forgot about Albania, so we're gonna make them join the war too. Oh. Anyway, so yeah, Serbia launches an invasion here and an invasion there. They're launching invasions everywhere, really. And also one to Croatia, which I totally just didn't forget. And also one into Hungary. So, but yeah. So yeah. Basically, So Romania becomes the first country to regain control of the front lines, and begins pushing them back. Actually, and then they get pushed out of Romania. And then so then Serbia pushes, so then Serbia keeps pushing from the south. So essentially, North Macedonia is done for. North Macedonia and actually Albania too were done for. Bulgaria regains control of their front lines and then begins pushing Serbia back. Now we need Hungary to regain control, and there goes Belgrade. So one by one, countries begin to regain control of the front lines and begin pushing Serbia back. Albania also regains control with help from the Greeks. North Macedonia begins pushing Serbia back. And bam. 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 And also Kosovo just joins Albania for protection. And also because I don't know about that one. And then bam, Albania. With help from the Italians, Bosnia regains control of the front lines. And so does Croatia. So their invasion. Oh, and that's Belgrade. War is essentially over. So, like, a interim Serbian government remains. Not an interim government, but like some kind of military government nonetheless. Yeah, a lot of these nations just fall under military dictatorships because and there you go. That's Serbia done with. So Serbia, so I'm just gonna change Serbia's color a little bit. So I'm just gonna make the, I'm gonna change the color like a little bit. And also get rid of this exclave. It's just, it doesn't serve a purpose. And they don't need it. So, there you go. We're done. We're done with the Serbian front. We're only done with the Serbian front. World War III is still definitely going on. But after the fall of Serbia, a new interim government is installed, and democracy is restored, and then they join the Allies. Oh yeah, American Cuba and American Panama actually don't try to break away. Mainly because they're a state. So they do get representation. But also, so basically, Russia is just collapsing. Oh, they've kind of always been collapsing. Right now, I mean, they've been collapsing for the past, like, year, essentially. It's 2033, or no, 2034, actually, midterm time. So the anti-war movement once again gains popularity because they think the war is over. They think America has won. Even though America really hasn't won the war yet, they still have to face China. So, but still, the Americans feel done, and they represent this. They still don't end the war, though. They're still in the war, but by no means they're going to leave the war. Just that the anti-interventionist movement has gained power. So it's time for America to continue its invasions. So oddly, the anti-war movement gained popularity because the war was popular. Or no, the war was unpopular. The war was both unpopular and popular. It was popular among, like, boomers and Gen X's and some older millennials. Those are the last generations that would have a major, like, any applaudable form of popularity. So America is still in the fight. So they keep invading Russia through naval invasions. Through naval invasions, they continue the fight. Like, really. But the Eurasian Union states, actually, they're not putting up that much resistance. But they are putting up a lot of resistance. Not enough to stop American advancements, but enough for America to at least second guess some of its actions. Anyways, the Volga offensive is actually should stop here. They actually should stop here because they have to fortify it. Because there's no point in going farther. So they continue invading Russia's heartland. Also, Britain election. The Reform UK minority government has now been replaced with a slightly larger conservative government. Also Germany election. The CDU wins again. So, India election. Oh yeah, the INC wins again. Oh yeah, Russia election. Just kidding. Romania election? Oh yeah. Nikosotan's government keeps his majority. I mean, they're actually pretty popular. Also, like, there's elections in other countries like France, Spain, Italy, Poland, and though not Turkey. They're Erdogan has done enough democratic backsliding, so he's president for life, essentially. He's president for life. Well, I mean, they've won. I mean, they're winning essentially most. I mean, they're winning the war, so why change leadership? Like, why change horses in the middle of the stream? What? Why change horses in the middle of the stream? Or in the middle of the road? So yeah, like, Russia's dead, essentially. The Russian government is overthrown, and it's the Russian government is overthrown, replaced with a new one, which is a bit. So the new Russian government wants to end the war, no matter the cost. So originally Russia liked. So originally the government. Originally the Allies supported the new government, but it became clear that there were some hefty differences between the two, and they're. They do hold an election, and the United Russia Party split, fractured, and the new so a new anti-war coalition is made to try to make a peace settlement. And by try, yeah, they failed to make a peace settlement because I mean, they failed to make a peace settlement because, one, the Allies are demanding unconditional surrender, even though, which they decline. So basically, yeah, there you go. That's actually So yeah, yeah, that's everything. Well, it's not everything. We still have more to do for World War III. This one's the deadest screen. So yeah, that's it. Well, it's not it yet. We still have to finish World War III. But yeah, the new Russian government, they do end up coming to some kind of peace settlement. It's not the. Basically, bam, there you go. Or actually, no. Bam. Bam. There you go. Korea gets a little bit of that. Oh yeah, and by Korea. Yeah, the Korean Peninsula is reunited under a democratic regime. So yeah, the South has won. There you go. South has won. Essentially, yeah. The South has won out over the North. Also, Japan keeps Sakhalin. Yeah, Japan keeps Sakhalin and the Kurils, yet the Kamchatka stays in. Oh. Yeah, but the Kamchatka is returned, though. Oh. Yeah, I know that. That's just an island. America keeps these islands to keep Russia in check, just in case they get any ideas, and also, America gets this for, as a treat for winning the war, America gets this massive chunk of land in Antarctica. Which also means they now border Oceania, which is a thing on its own. So yeah. Anyways. And also, until China is defeated, Russia has to give America complete military access, which is kind of an unpopular policy, but it's one of the few ways that are going to defeat China.
Oh no.
Okay, sorry about that. Grandma had to come to the room. But anyways, yeah, Russia has been, for all intended purposes, Russia lost the war. Also, yeah. America also gets this island. And also this island. So... So yeah, there you go. That's it. It's done. At least in Russia. Because it's not done elsewhere. It is still very much going on. The war has never ended. The war never ended. I mean, the war hasn't ended yet. It's still very much going on. Oh, wow, they're even invading Kazakhstan a little bit. So anyways, that's... So yeah, that's it. Everything is... it's done. I mean, oh yeah, oh yeah, but I do have to finish this. Belarus gets independence again? Ukraine gets Crimea back. And Russia's military is reduced to... And Russia's military has, oh yeah, they have to reduce their military to something like 100,000 soldiers, mainly for defensive purposes. Actually, more like maybe 200,000. So the Eurasian Union state has been dissolved, and what's left is just Russia, really. Oh, Russia, Belarus, Central Asia. Yeah, Central Asia just becomes an independent nation. But not yet. Because it's, because it's kind of a... Okay, oh, there you go. So yeah. The popularity of the Afotw government soars. In America, and also, and the popularity of the incumbent government of the leading government in Russia actually declines. Just a honeymoon. There was a honeymoon period just because they ended the war, and then after that, the approval of their government starts to just tank. So there you go. New government in Belarus. And that. And also. Russia is reunited, kind of. Ukraine also keeps this up. Just kidding. So, it seems like the world has. So it seems like Russia has truly learned their lesson, but they haven't. Just not yet. Anyways, yeah, that's it. War's over. Russia keeps Central Asia, though. Oh, Chechnya and Dagestan become independent. I almost forgot. That's like the best I can at drawing their border. Yeah, new nation. Yeah, new nation. Chechnya. New nations. Chechnya and Dagestan. So I guess we get another. So you get another Stan nation, and a minority becomes independent. So that's great. So it's a win-win. So there you go. That's World War III in Russia, because we still have to defeat China. So let's begin with the final offensive. China. So, like, millions of troops cross into China. And then that overruns most of Manchuria. But immediately overruns most of that overruns most of Manchuria. And then with the use of automated military vehicles and also lasers, the Chinese threat and also cyber warfare and drone strikes, China has essentially been neutralized. And also the Chinese stock market, and also the Chinese economy is dead. The Chinese economy is also struggling. And also, the guerrilla warfare in Vietnam appears to have paid off as they leave the country. And Vietnam is whole again. They also land in here. So then they land in here and start working up the coastline. So China's already been navally blockaded, like here, so they can't really be doing any trading. Except with Afghanistan. So they have to put a stop to that. yeah, they invade Afghanistan. An invasion of Afghanistan is agreed upon. Mainly because they just want to depose the Taliban. Also, actually, ignore that because the Taliban just collapsed itself. Yeah, the Taliban just collapsed itself. So yeah, the Taliban just fell on its own. So yeah, there's a new government that wants to set up a democracy. So yeah, that really doesn't look very good for China. Cambodia begins pushing up into Laos. Mainly because they're using Vietnam's war tactics in the thick jungles. And also the Ho Chi Minh Trail. That doesn't exist. No, the Ho Chi Minh Trail exists. I don't think it's ever used. It existed, but it's not used. But it's not used anymore. Or it might still be used. I don't know. Anyways, there you go. That's it. Done. Gone. There you go, that's it. Chinese puppet governments in Laos and Burma are gone and done. Now we can focus on the mountains of Yunnan. So the tactics actually have to be changed. China has a population of, at this point it's fallen to 1.2 billion. About like 3 million of them are casualties from war. It's mainly just the naval blockade, and also China's population is already falling. So China's GDP has peaked at around 21 trillion. I mean, now it was more 29 trillion. Right, or nah, more like a 26 trillion when World War III began. And now it's fallen to like just 20. No, more like 19. More like 13 trillion, really. They can't do any exports, so their economy is shrinking fast. Meanwhile, the U.S. GDP has surpassed 50 trillion because the economy grew that quickly. And then, there you go. That's millions of men encircled. Bam. 1 million men. That's like 3 million men encircled. Mongolia. See, China's made a new enemy. Guess who's back? Genghis is. Okay, well, not really. They just want to reclaim Inner Mongolia. And eventually they're going. They make some gains. Mainly because they're being assisted by the Russians. Because they want to... Because the new Russian government actually wants to get rid of China as well. Also, Germany's economy is flourishing. They're around 13 trillion. So yeah, now it's 2036. The Afotw government has been re-elected, and also, a new. So Elon Musk's America Party was anti-war. So they want a fair amount of seats in 2034, and also in 2028. And there you go. That's it. It's all over. It's truly Jover for China. It's Jover. It's Geover. No, Ginover. Yeah, Gino. It's Ginover. Oh no, it's Ginover. Okay, that sounds stupid. East Turkestan declares independence. And then so does Tibet. The government falls into. So the military regime falls into just a bunch of cliques. So these cliques begin to abandon the government. So one arises in this area. Another in actually that's kind of similar to Vietnam. Another in this area. Another one in this area. So yeah, it's like just 4 factions. And they all start fighting each other. So this is the... So... They don't really... So... They're actually against... So the Allies are against all of these cliques. This one is the most people in it. But they want to focus on the government first. So they launch a massive offensive into Manchuria, and also they take out some more territory while they're at it. And the Shanghai clique uses this as an opportunity to expand. So does the Ma clique, which uses this as an opportunity to expand. Which basically they just split the spoils. So the Ma clique refocuses their efforts toward the Chongqing clique, and then the Shanghai clique focuses their efforts toward the Chongqing clique. So then they launch another offense. So then more offensives are launched to take out the powerful Shanghai clique, which And then a brutal siege of Shanghai begins. So their goal is to encircle the city. So let's see how that plays out. So they start with an offensive here to reach. Oh, and they're at the outskirts. Ooh. Well, they made a landing and it got repelled. Oh, so they got. That was a small landing, kind of. So now Shanghai is encircled. People are dying. People are dying. People are dying, and the city fell. So that kind of marks the end of the Shanghai clique. So the Ma clique uses this to take more of the Shanghai clique. And then the Shanghai clique splits into even more cliques. So, like, this clique, and also this clique. So the Shanghai loyalists are here. This is the strongest. So this is the strongest remnant of the Shanghai clique. So then, what is that noise? So anyways, a new democratic clique forms. So the democracy movement. So the democracy movement is strong in the Ma clique and kind of like cuts them off. So then the Chongqing clique starts their own offensive and takes out the Ma clique. So then, but then the Chongqing clique gets a bit too big and splits into two, and splits into another clique. This would be the Chengde clique, and it's probably one of the more powerful ones. So the loyalists of the Shanghai clique have been completely crushed at this point. So now they're just So now these two cliques are duking it out. So the democracy movement destroys the Chongqing clique. And then the Chengde clique, which I explained is quite powerful, takes some more territory. Basically, this is like yeah, the Second Chinese Civil War here. It's deadly. So yeah, then this clique. So then a new clique rises out of this one. Actually, that looks too similar to Japan. Basically, this is the This is the national clique, and it's aggressive and has some weird beliefs, I could say. So it actually pushes back the Allies, which is crazy on its own. So the Allies hand Manchuria over to the Democratic clique, to the Democratic movement. Which then launches a massive offensive to defeat. Oh yeah, and they also get Shanghai back. So then an even deadlier battle at Shanghai emerges. Or no, another deadly battle at Shanghai. This one's probably even deadlier, really. So Taiwan is just chilling in Taiwan. So, oh yeah, the national clique, the nationalistic clique wins this battle at Shanghai. So it's around like 2037. There's other conflicts going on around the same time. Just that I'm trying to focus on the Civil War. So this faction of the Shanghai clique is not looking so good. So the Chengde clique. The Chengde clique looks like it's winning. The democracy movement gets Hainan back. The democracy movement gets even more territory back. Except for Inner Mongolia. They're not getting that back. So they launch an offensive to split the Chengde clique in two. So because their ideology is kind of the same, the national clique and the Chengde clique unite into a national clique, and then they subjugate to that, and then yeah, they take back Hainan, and then Yunnan. So it's actually a complete role reversal of the first Chinese Civil War. So yeah, the national clique launches an offensive, retaking Beijing. And just like that, it's all over. But then the democracy movement makes some gains in the Ma region, which is somewhat insignificant as the national clique continues their advance, but then they're encircled and pushed back. So then in the third battle of Shanghai, the national clique wins, and then and starts another offensive, and it gets pushed back. It gets pushed back, but they hold the line around here. So then they continue reclaiming the Ma region. Until the fall of Chongqing, which then the Chongqing army is cut off and tries to make gain, and then they're just wiped out. So the democracy movement is being pushed back all fronts until finally a peace treaty is signed. Finally. finally. The conflict is over. Nobody won. On another like 300 million people, another like 200 million people died. So China's population has fallen under 1 billion. So yeah. There you go. That's it. That's it. So finally, we can end this. We can finally end World War III. After, like, years. Anyways, yeah. So, there. That's it. For the Chinese, for the Second Chinese Civil War. There's still gonna be more of this fit. There's still gonna be more of this stream, I promise. At least, probably. I mean, I've been going for almost 2 hours, so we are eventually going to have to end it. But still. So yeah, this national clique is it's quite totalitarian, you could say. It is quite totalitarian. A democratic regime is still set up in Manchuria, but they got the bulk of it, which is bad for the people living there. So anyways, that's Kashmir. And also a bit of extra stuff. Yeah, so probably, and actually remove the probably, definitely the most deadly conflict in human history. That's World War III, over and done. Actually over. And it's over and done, really. It is both over and done. So, yeah, that's... Okay. So, so tensions have... The stage has already been set for another world war already. like, the national clique has won the Second Chinese Civil War, which is bad news for the West. So basically, the Second Red Scare takes effect. Essentially, the ideology. So in America, and also and her allies, the ideology of new McCarthyism becomes a mainstream ideology. Basically, new McCarthyism is McCarthyism, but it's more against totalitarianism. It more focuses on, and yeah, it kind of focuses. It also focuses a little bit more. It might also focus. Yeah, it just focuses more on the. I don't know. But yeah. There you go. Anyway. But yeah, it's just like McCarthyism, but less witch hunts and. Yeah, it's just McCarthyism, but with less witch hunts. Hey, that's new McCarthyism summed up. Very much sums up new McCarthyism for ya. And yeah, Joseph McCarthy is glorified as an. I mean, well, not glorified, but yeah. Anyone who's suspected of being a Chinese agent could possibly be arrested or even executed. So yeah. So Mongolia is kicked out of Inner Mongolia because China kind of lobbied for them to keep it. And then they caved. And then they kind of had to cave into the lobbyists because they would not stop. Or no, they had to cave into the Chinese because they would not stop begging for Inner Mongolia. Or they would not stop their obsession over Inner Mongolia, so they kind of had to return it. So President John Ossoff is president. Oh yeah, so because of the because of like the term limit, then because of the 22nd Amendment, John Ossoff can't run for the third term, even though people tried to abolish the 22nd Amendment. They failed, so the 2-term limit is still a thing, and yeah, that's it. So, I don't know who would be elected. That Ossoff Ronnie probably would have been re-elected, but And, yeah. The Second Chinese Civil War is, I mean, well, it ended, finally. So the new Chinese government immediately began doing stuff and more like essentially expanding the capitalist market, and which does cause their economy to improve. And also they started giving more power to corporations, because I mean it's kind of so Pakistan is lifted from Indian occupation and becomes a sovereign nation again. And democracy is restored in Myanmar. And also in Laos. Okay, so anyways, hundreds of million people died for what? What did we accomplish? China collapsed. I mean, the American economy has soared again. Democracy was restored in a ton of nations, but like, for what? Well, oh, my fingers hurt. Anyways, well, now it's time for more stuff to happen. Now it's time to depose the dictatorship in Turkmenistan. Yeah, this goes on one last conquest before their imperialist tendencies are put aside. So yeah, they take the coast, and that's essentially the most populated region, so eventually the country slowly falls. So, now it's time to do what's called a, well, now it's time for Russia to get bigger, again. So yeah, that's... Oh yeah, and also a lake dried up. And another lake. So yeah, Central Asia is just a mess now. And then another lake dried up. So yeah, there you go. That's the world. So now it's 2041, and it's wartime. So Argentina became a dictatorship again because Malay did stuff like a coup. So, yeah, it's now time for, well, so it wasn't really, well, it wasn't Malay who did it, no. It was the so, it was like the nationalists, funded by China. Oh yes, the national clique. They're not going to give up on their dreams of reuniting China that easily. So yeah, they funded groups in Argentina who made a military dictatorship, who then made a dictatorship. So, let me see. Okay, so essentially the line is drawn. So, the line is drawn. Oh well. So the line is drawn at like around here. Oh, yeah, it's still hidden. Sorry about that. So the line between the Guists and the Loyalists are drawn at about here. So the nationalists take the initiative and just get rid of that. Then the British began an invasion from the south. But then Britain might have conspired in this. They do stuff. Also, so Britain agrees. So Argentina agrees to renounce their claims over So Britain got Argentina to renounce their claims over Antarctica. Meaning they now have free reign. Meaning they now have free reign in they just, so now they solely control, like, all of that territory. So basically, like, capitalism in China never died. It just went away. Oh yeah, but so yeah, the Argentinian Civil War is another. It's another one of these It's another one of these proxy wars. So China does have a few allies, but no official ones, so they need to get some. So they send aid to. So yeah, they start a civil war in Argentina. So Britain uses Britain uses that as an excuse to help. Well, one, help the Argentine government, and then use that as a pretext to take all this territory. It's a right job there, Argentina. You kind of just surrendered most of your Argentinian territory. And then Chile begins helping as well. So they're being pushed back. So Chinese aid arrives in mass numbers. So with Chinese aid arriving in mass numbers, the Allies try sending aid to this government, but at this point, it's too late. Argentina has fallen, and you're kind of just gonna have to live with that. So, except for Brazilian aid. Except for, like, Brazilian aid, and also more Chilean aid, but most of these efforts are futile, as they essentially have control over the big population centers. Except, another British offense. Britain does use the Falklands as a jumping point. And them, along with Chile, do push them back. But yeah, they have the big population centers, so essentially they're just fighting a losing. So they're just also they have the military. And public opinion is already heavily against the war because, like, World War III just ended. And why are we getting involved in another one? So all nations have to withdraw their aid. U.S. starts to, so nations like the United States began sending spies to overthrow. Oh, these. Also, yeah, Marina is still somehow in charge in Mexico. Oh, I guess they're just popular. Also, Britain election. There's been several Britain elections, but right now, Labour's in charge because they managed to revive themselves. And in Britain, the left. There's a surge in left-leaning politics in the Allied nations, especially in Britain, France, Germany. Well, in India, but in India, the BJP is elected again. And finally, Erdogan is removed from power. So basically, he tries to declare himself dictator. So he tries to declare, he died, so then his son succeeded him. And then he tried to declare himself dictator, so let's see what happens. Oh. Alright. Bam. Ugh. So yeah, that's it. Greece gets Cyprus. That's about it. So yeah, now, finally, Cyprus is reunited. And also, Azerbaijan and Turkey unite into a nation, so now, and also a lake dried up. Actually, a few lakes dried up. So now, we have long Turkey. So yeah, sea level rise is starting to take its toll. Islands are starting to sink into the ocean, but it's probably not going to have that bad an effect yet. Probably won't have that bad an effect yet. Right? Yeah, so, yeah, it doesn't have much of an effect yet. But it will. So you should probably stop it before it gets too late. Also, the oil. Also, Saudi Arabia's economy is essentially dead. Because the oil industry is essentially dead. So, now it's Civil War time. Again, so basically, the state of Hejaz breaks away. Saudi Arabia is engaged in a brutal three-way civil war. The House of Saud makes advances. But they prove to be futile. And then the challenger approaches. The Muslim Brotherhood is they're just a bunch of radical Islamists. So yeah, they swarm. So they swarm in and start taking stuff. So then all the other sides mobilize their armies to defeat the Muslim Brotherhood. So then this pocket is gone. And then they find out China and Argentina have been funding them. So the House of Saud. But they still try fighting each other as well, which means it's just a big waste of resources. The Hejaz region gets cooped. So all they want to do is just... No, the Hejaz region just wants to take Hejaz. They just want the Hejaz region. So then the Muslim Brotherhood. So in this collapsing area, more and more people defect to the Muslim Brotherhood. Essentially, they're just evolved versions of ISIS. That's it. They're just worse versions of ISIS. So then all sides unite. So then all sides unite and form a coalition to stop the Muslim Brotherhood. So the Muslim Brotherhood just takes out this isolated pocket. And then continues their advance from there. So they just take all that, and then bam, take that. So then this pocket is isolated. So then they advance from all sides. And then bam, there you go. That pocket is gone, and then that pocket. So it's all really quick too. So eventually, the Muslim Brotherhood has now consolidated their control over Saudi Arabia. Their invasions have only just begun. It is now time for a holy crusade against enemies of the state. So they begin by attacking Qatar, which falls pretty quickly. Like, Qatar is, yeah. Qatar is essentially, from what I've heard, Qatar is essentially a slave state, so it falls kind of quickly. And by kind of, I mean, like, really quickly. Then the next holy incursion is into Bahrain, which is tiny, so that falls pretty quickly, too. It seems like they're doing, like, really well. Their next incursion is against Yemen, which is actually fairly strong, so it keeps them bogged down in Yemen for a while. But their war tactics are a success. They split into two, and then bam, that side fell, and then all they have to do is just keep pushing in. And that's Yemen. That is Yemen done with. There you go. So that's a larger. So that's a large nation, which is kind of an understatement, because they're also, like, expanding really fast. So their next holy crusade is into Kuwait, which also falls. Like, it falls really quickly because there is. I mean, they're essentially just one city. So, yeah. And then continuing their holy... And then they invade the UAE. So yeah, eventually it just falls. So America's oil supplies cut off, but I mean they'd already They now rely mostly on nuclear and solar energy. And also a little bit of wind, too. But yeah, it's mainly just solar and nuclear. Not that much wind. I guess there could be a little bit of wind power in there, but no, not really. Are there any other? I mean, I guess we didn't Nigeria. Oh, my pinky hurts really badly. I think I'm gonna put the tunnel. So, also, yeah, and they annex Socotra too. So there you go. That's it. So yeah, I'm gonna try to finish this because I gotta eat, and also my pinky really hurts, so I might have carpal tunnel. I gotta go get that checked. I'm gonna have to go get this thing checked. Anyways, there you go. That's it. That's it. Nationalism is. Oh, and also we have to do one final thing. Argentina versus Paraguay. So the Argentine military begins military exercises on the border with Paraguay, and they slowly work. So they slowly work their way up, taking Asuncion, and essentially Paraguay just collapses. So yeah, there you go. That's it. And also Leo is still Pope. He's just really old. Anyways, that is it. I mean, we have Great Argentina. And also the Antarctic Treaty is expired, so Britain does what's called a big brain move. So they kind of get Chile into renouncing their claim, into renouncing their claims over the continent, so they can in order for guarantees for their other claims. Also the American portion. And also, eventually it's decided upon that America gets this. because why not? They're probably gonna cede it to somebody else. America. But yeah, America does eventually. But yeah, what enough bargaining America get? America just America just gets all of Antarctica. Oh, hold on. I want to check if I still have the file for. Ah. Oh. Huh. Okay. Anyways, okay, okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna, oh. Okay. Okay, see, okay, I'm gonna end the stream. We've been going for 2.5 hours, so see ya.